Hey everyone, this is a help video for your homework for pages 427 and 428. We are looking at the distance formula. This is the distance formula. Now you can take your points and label them x1, y1, x2, y2, but what I really like to do is think of it as you subtract the x's and square it. Subtract the y's and square it. Add those two numbers together and take the square root. So for this problem, I would say d equals, I'm going to put my square root, and then I have them written in red, I have my two x's in red. I'm going to subtract, and it doesn't matter what order you subtract in, but I'll just subtract 2 minus a negative 3. Be careful there. So 2 minus a negative 3, square it, and we're going to put a plus sign, and now I'm going to need to subtract the y's. 7 minus 5 quantity squared, and we just keep going. So when I subtract my x's, this is going to turn into plus plus, and I get 5 squared, and the second one is going to be a 2 squared. So I get the square root of 25 plus 4, and d equals the square root of 29. Now, if I could simplify the square root of 29, I would, but I can't, so this is the answer. Okay, let's look at number 11 because that looks pretty tricky with all of those radicals. But the formula is the same. D equals the square root. Now, inside, in parentheses, I'm going to subtract the x's. So I've got 2 radical 7 minus radical 7. That's what's in red, underlined in red. Squared, and then plus, for the blue ones, that's my y coordinates. I've got negative 3 minus 5, and that's going to be squared. Okay, next line. Remember that if there's no number in front, I can put a 1. So what that really is saying is 2 apples minus 1 apple. Well, 2 radical 7 minus 1 radical 7 leaves 1 radical 7. Or I can just write radical 7 squared. In the other parentheses, I get negative 3 minus 5. I need to think of that as a negative 3 plus a negative 5. That is negative 8. So I've got a negative 8 squared. Please put that in parentheses so that you don't accidentally think that the answer is a negative 64, because it's not. When you square a number, it is always positive. Now here, when I square a square root, they undo each other and I get 7. For the second one, I get a positive 64. So when I add those together, I get the square root of 71, which cannot be simplified. Okay, for numbers 13 through 17, you are supposed to find the perimeter. So I've got a rough sketch of number 13, and here's what I want you to do to help keep things straight. I want you to label the sides. You can label them whatever you want. I'm going to label this one A, this one B, and this one C. Your job is to find the distance for A, B, and C and add those together. So your problem is going to look like this. You're going to have A equals the square root. Now subtract your x's. Now remember, this is A, so I'm using these 2 points. So when I subtract the x's, I have negative 1 minus 2 quantity squared plus 1 minus 2 quantity squared. Now for B, you are finding the distance between these 2 points. So that is going to be the square root of 2 minus 3, that's the difference of the x's, and then 2 minus a negative 2 for the y's. And then for C, that is the distance between this point and this point. So I'm going to have, for my x's, negative 1 minus 3 quantity squared, and for my y's, 1 minus a negative 2 quantity squared. Okay, now be really careful, because sometimes the values you get for A, B, and C will be radicals that will not combine. I'm going to tell you for this problem that the answer for the perimeter is radical 10 plus radical 17 plus 5. Okay, now it's up to you to work out these 3 radicals to get these 3 numbers. But what I want to point out is If the radicals you get, or the numbers you get, cannot be combined for A, B, and C, then you just write them like this, and you're done.